Talking about turkey camp. Turkey camp was interesting because we stumbled in. That was our first time hunting turkeys. I'd never hunted turkeys in my life before, and wasn't really sure what to expect. I was excited for camp though. COVID had just kind of kicked in, and so we weren't sure what camp was going to look like. You and Sheldon, or Chase and Sheldon, had scouted at territory leading in, so I hadn't seen the spot either. But they had guaranteed that this place is picturesque, and we set up camp next to Assiniboine on some crown land, and McFad's was there. We're cooking some food, so camp was great, but the hunting wasn't so great. I think we spent both our days chasing a single tom through some crown land in the bush. We got on some turkeys, got some cutting back that one day. Chase and I were out, but we never did draw them in. I just don't think we didn't know how to hunt turkeys, really, is what it came down to. It was kind of like us starting off hunting elk. There was a sharp learning curve. So year 2 was even more wild, I feel like, because we were even deeper in the whole COVID frontier. We were 13, 14 months into this thing. We were hoping restrictions were going to be a little looser. So initially we had started up a group chat with a whole host of folks that were supposed to come out into camp with us. We were super excited about it. We had Del Barber in that chat. Josh McFadden was on the fence, but looking at it. Sheldon, Chase, Chris Stanky, our good buddy there, who we archery hunt with. So we had a good crew lined up to come out, and we landed up canceling that because the restrictions came in tight again. So again, COVID kind of put a wrench in our camp lifestyle. And I had virtually no time to scout this year. So that left Chase on the scouting front, and I know Chase had been out there with a buddy earlier, and he had managed to get his own turkey, which is a funny story. But I was not any more prepared, other than the idea of that what we were going to eat out there for turkey camp than I was the year before. I don't know if that's just having a kid, having a new puppy, but I was not any further down the line of the turkey camp. I did, however, get set up the Turkey Slayer 6000, which is the Remington 870, which is a fantastic weapon. I put a new turkey choke on it, a Primos tube, extra full. I think they call it something different, but it's a pretty tight one. Put a strap. What's it called now? Put a sling on it, so just in case we were walking far distances, because we put on some miles last camp on that crown land, and she was ready to go. So that was the extent of the turkey prep for 2021. Yeah, hunt day was interesting because leading into hunt, I was actually kind of gutted because we had to cancel things pretty close to the camp date. Those restrictions that came in really tight. So that meant Chase and I, who had initially planned to go out together, were now having to drive in separate vehicles. So that kind of thwarted any kind of game planning we might have done in the vehicle. Also, not being able to camp on site meant that the alarm was now being set at 3 a.m. So that was not an exciting factor for camp or for turkey hunting. But leading into turkey hunting, it was kind of like on the drive there, I kind of settled into it a bit and got excited for it. And it was my first real reemergence into the hunting world since the fall. And I hadn't done a lot of ice fishing for a variety of reasons. So it gave me a chance to really get back to being in the woods, being outside, doing something that has a goal. And your goal is to bring some food home today. And the nice thing leading out to the spot was I didn't have to worry about where I was headed, because the night before, not only had Chase sent me an iHunter pin, so I knew where I was going, and I can link that directly into my Apple Maps, which I used to navigate sometimes. And it pops in right as my tunes are playing in the background. I was actually listening to the Turkey podcast on the way out. But I was also able to do just a little bit of e-scouting and look at that area. So I could tell the general area where we were headed. There was this nice mix of wood, fields, and a little bit of elevation to deal with, which was kind of exciting. Because we don't, normally where we hunt, we don't have any elevation whatsoever. So I was excited to see the hunting spot. I was excited to get out in the field. The weather was supposed to be great that day. And I was excited to hunt somewhere new, to be honest, because sometimes we just stick to the same old, and that turkey hunting in southern Manitoba is a new opportunity for me to explore and check something out that's exciting and engaging. So driving into the spot, Chase and I rolled down the gravel roads. We started traversing the gravel roads off the highway, and instantly, like, the ag land just starts to pop. And then we get that much closer, you can tell, because I was using the map feature, that much closer to the spot where we're getting ready almost to set up. And I remember thinking in my head, man, this looks like great deer country. I would love to come archery hunt out here with all the valleys and just the way that the trees seem to meet the fields and like weave in and out. It just looked like a beautiful area. So I was excited just to be in that spot, and unfortunately we didn't make it for sunup, so that was the not so great part. But I was able to, we were catching the sun just cresting, and we were going down not a gravel road, but like a mud road, and it was just like this picturesque sunrise in like rural Manitoba. So I mean, that was pretty cool to see in and of itself. Just this sun cresting over these trees, lighting up the green fields, because it looked like there was some winter wheat or something out there already. And you're rolling down a mud road. It could have been Kentucky, as far as I could tell, but it was Manitoba. So when Chase and I got out of the trucks, we tried the classic slam the door to elicit a shock gobble and got nothing. I wasn't too rattled because like I wasn't sure what to expect in the first place, but Chase, like I saw Chase's eyebrow go up a bit, and yeah. So then Chase, as I'm loading up my gear, so I'm putting on my stuff. I got my wool glove on. I'm loading up my my jacket. I'm putting on the boots I got. I was thinking about getting my pack. It's like, you're not going to need a pack. Like, okay, so I guess I got this sling for nothing. So Chase is getting the decoys together, and he just gives a little cut on the slate call, and right away the woods about 200 yards away in a wooded valley, lights up, and they give us the old. So we know they're down there, and now things are happening fast. So we've got to get to that location. I don't know what's going to happen. Right? Are they going to start coming right away? So Chase grabs the decoys. I grabbed the rest of my gear, and I'm pretty sure my boots are tied at this point, so I was lucky. So we start rolling quickly down this mud road, and we set up just on the one side of the field where we have permission. And Chase says, we're kind of communicating in hand signals at this point in time, and Chase is telling me to go into the bush. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go in the bush. And I landed up getting on top of that ridge right at the bush line. And Chase sunk back a little into the bush. We had the 2 hen decoys set up and the 1 Jake. And Chase started calling, and sure enough, those birds shot back. So like, I mean, we were set up probably within 10 minutes of getting there. So 15 minutes after sunrise kind of scenario, and we had action. So things were already infinitely more promising than the year before. We had birds responding to us. I was already thinking to myself, like, hey, don't freak out. You shot at things before, and you'll shoot at things again later down the road. So just like keep it together and just like breathe. So that was all fine. Chase kept calling, and all of a sudden, these 4 birds emerge. They crest the hill, and the sun was right in her face, so these birds were like emerging, like almost like Japanese zeros from the ocean, over the horizon, and you get these silhouetted turkeys rolling over the hill and towards our decoys. And so they were on the other property at this point in time, and they were coming in, and I couldn't really make them out what they were. It was hard for me to see a beard or any kind of like other distinguishing features because they had the sun to their back and to our face. Eventually, as they kind of mingled around on that other property and right next to our decoys, or close to our decoys, they started to flare up a bit once in a while. I was like, oh, that kind of looks like a Jake, and you can still hear something down in the valley, and I was like, man, that sounds bigger. That reminds me of like elk hunting, where that herd bull is just hanging back and he's waiting to check things out. He's going to let everyone else check things out first, but that bull is going to roll in late after everything's been kind of secured, and really then strut his stuff. So I was like, well, wait. Chase had stopped calling, and we just kind of watched the Jakes work. And they would kind of like, it is funny, they're kind of like just teenage boys, kind of like rolling around, kind of like puffing up every once in a while, and still too scared to like kind of engage with those three decoys. But it became very apparent when those toms started to roll in, because those Jakes puffed right up, and they looked like little like fuzzy like cotton balls, all kind of swarming around. And then two toms emerged from the same path that those Jakes were coming. And then Chase and I kind of exchanged a glance, and we knew that was the chance there. And unlike the Jakes, those toms rolled straight in, and they beelined. They as fast as a turkey beelines, as far as I can tell, to those decoys. They didn't waste no time. And as they were coming up, I was kind of making my assessment here with the sun in my face. I was like, man, that lead bird looks bigger, but he's missing a few tail feathers. That's rear bird definitely has all its tail feathers, but it looks a little smaller. But I didn't know what was going to happen, because those Jakes had hung up at that fence line. So when that one bird approaches the fence, that first tom, you can see him with the split feathers. I kind of held my breath for a second, because I was like, what is this going to be it? And that thing did not slow down. It ducked that fence like it was jumping a pool table to go enter the bar fight here. And that bird was on. So after that bird cleared the fence, that's when things got real serious. So I was like, okay, I guess this is happening. So I try to get my gun up as slow and smooth as possible. It was low ready. I got it up high here, and it was still kind of ducked down. So I just basically waited until it stuck up its head. And the second it did that, I squeezed the trigger, and I think that was lights out. How did that play out? That was like textbook. Buddy. Do that. We're on these hills. Oh. Man, they're big, eh? So I'll definitely be doing the spring season again. We couldn't have asked for better weather. I feel like we got out there. I was dressed in a hoodie and my regular like light season hunting pants. It was like cool enough to not have any bugs, but warm enough to not have to be burdened down with a bunch of gear. Also, it's just really exciting to have those jakes come out, or those toms come out on a line. Like, I feel like you don't get that kind of opportunity in many style hunts. So I can only think of maybe like elk hunting or moose hunting, maybe a good duck hunt or something where you get something responding to a call. But you get this opportunity in the spring when there's not a lot of other seasons open, and that's just super exciting. Plus, those turkeys are a super unique bird. I couldn't believe when that bird was down on the ground in front of us, just how colorful and like intricate and really defined it was. It was like you could tell that it evolved over a long time to have all these intricacies and different dynamics to it, from its beard to like its head and its spurs, its feather coloration. It's just a really cool bird. I think I'll definitely be going again, even if it's not successful next year. I think just being out in the field, hopefully we're able to mingle a little, and being in the woods at that time of year is just another great experience to kind of look forward to year in and year out. After we kind of we took a little celebratory snip after the bird was down, and Ranella talks about the suck factor and having to pay your price to harvest an animal. And I mean, if you count the season before, maybe we put in some hours and had some mistakes and had some victories, but maybe we paid the price last season. But honestly, I just felt super lucky that hunt, because it was my first turkey I harvested. Everything came together. It was like a dream, the way that turkey came in, the way we got to watch those jakes work, the way the sun was cresting, the landscape that we were in, and just how unique that turkey felt coming into the fence like that. It made me feel real connected to the bird, to the landscape, where we were, and that everything went to plan. I can't remember the last time everything's gone to plan in a hunt. And I got to spend it with my brother Chase. It wasn't how we envisioned it at first, but it was almost like this rush of after the rush of the shot was over, it was like this rush of relief, and I just experienced so many emotions, because it had been a tough year for us not being able to get out, whether it was deer hunting got canceled that year, as far as like being in camp. Turkey camp obviously didn't go great, or like as far as the camp out, and even ice fishing, we didn't get out as much. So to be able to share that moment with my brother, a first turkey kill, a successful hunt. It's such a beautiful morning, and it's something I'll just, I'll always carry with me. So I think that's what I get the most out of hunting is these memories, and the food and the is just a fantastic byproduct of that. So yeah.